Hey, I'm Jessica and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm decorating 3 Google Home mini holders using ribbon, washi tape, and paint. I've recently gotten into home automation and somehow ended up with 5 Google Home minis throughout my house. So I thought I would decorate 3 of my Google Home mini holders so that when I talk to Google, they're a bit more fun and pretty to look at. For my first holder, I'm decorating it using unicorn ribbon. This holder was designed to be mounted into a wall socket, so I'm going to place the ribbon around the side of the holder. I don't want any weird cuts in the unicorn decoration, so I'm going to cut the ribbon long enough to wrap fully around the holder. After I cut my ribbon for the side, I decided that I wanted one of the unicorns on the front panel of my holder. So before I tape my ribbon to the side, I cut a small piece of ribbon to tape to the front panel. I used a pencil to mark on the holder where exactly I wanted my ribbon to go. That way I knew where to put my tape and where to line up my ribbon when I was taping it down. I then taped down my ribbon so that one of the unicorns was right in the center. I then cut that ribbon shorter on the side of the holder because I wanted the front ribbon to disappear once I placed the side ribbon on top of it. I then taped down both sides of the front ribbon. I then started taping my ribbon around the side of my holder, making the seam of the ribbon at the bottom, that way I can't see it. I worked in small chunks, taping onto the holder and placing down the ribbon. That way I had more control over my ribbon placement so that I didn't end up with some sort of wonky mess, and I was able to keep it mostly straight. Mostly. With this type of holder, I had a bit of trouble getting the tape roller into those little crevices. I had to work at it, but I eventually was able to get enough tape in there so that the ribbon would stick. I continued taping in small chunks around the rest of the holder. This tape roller gets super sticky when you're working with paper, but when you're working with ribbon, you do have a little bit of leeway. So when I ended up getting a little bit wonky, I was able to pull the ribbon off and replace it. On the side of the holder, there's a hole for the Google Home Mini speaker switch, which I didn't want to cover up with the ribbon, so I had to figure out a way around it. I didn't want to cut the ribbon because then it would fray. I had some problems with that earlier, so I ended up folding the ribbon over and taping it down underneath the hole, and then once I was past the hole, I returned the ribbon back to normal. For the end seam, I cut the ribbon a little extra long, that way I could fold the ribbon over and tape it down to prevent any fraying so that the seam wouldn't look super frayed. And then I taped the folded over seam onto the previous ribbon and taped that down so that the seam was not as noticeable. And I ended up making it perfectly aligned, almost perfectly aligned with my unicorn design. So that was great. For my next Google Home mini holder, I'm going to be using a similar technique to my first one. I'm going to be wrapping washi tape this time around the entire side of the holder. One of the benefits of using washi tape instead of ribbon is that washi tape is so sticky, so you don't have to go around twice, once with the roller and once with the ribbon, in order to get everything taped down. Also, the washi tape removes very easily, so if you make any sort of mistake in lining up your washi tape in terms of being like wonky and off center and everything else, you can easily just take it off, remove it, replace it down, and you're good to go. Another benefit of washi tape is that it doesn't fray, so when cutting around that speaker switch hole, I can easily just take my scissors, cut a little bit, and then cut the hole out. Once the washi tape is wrapped fully around the sides of the Google Home holder, I take my scissors, cut off the end, and then tape it down. Then for the speaker switch, I pull back the washi tape that I cut earlier and then cut off that little excess to reveal the hole. I again wanted a design on the front of the holder, so I cut out one of the bees from my washi tape design and placed it on the front of the Google Home holder. it wasn't exactly on the holder. I placed it on the plug, which is technically part of the Google Home, not the holder, but it's still visible from the front, so it counts. My third Google Home holder is shaped like a retro alarm clock. I bought all of these on Amazon for, I don't know, $15. They weren't that expensive. For this one though, I want to paint some flowers and polka dots on my design to make it really pretty. Because I'm going to be painting with this design, I want to put some painter's tape over the top of the actual Google Home so that I don't get any paint on there accidentally. I should probably have painted my Google Home holders before I put my Google Homes in them, but I didn't because I didn't think about I didn't think about that until afterwards. So, and this one especially, I had to use a screwdriver to actually screw it in, and I did not want to unscrew it to take it out to paint it. So I'm putting some painter's tape over the top of the Google Home so it doesn't get messy. For my painting design, I want to do a few flowers on the base of the holder and then polka dots on the little symbols at the top. And I ended up doing polka dots around the base of the holder also. So I started out with green, doing some green dots around the base of the holder where I wanted my flowers to go, and then also adding green dots on the little symbols for polka dots. I then went in with purple to do a flower and add some purple polka dots onto the symbols. The next flower I did was yellow, and I added yellow polka dots to the symbols. And for the symbols, I ended up only using green, purple, and yellow. But for the rest of the body of the holder, I used multiple colors, including red, some gold, teal, various colors to add flowers and then polka dots. For this project, I used acrylic paint directly on the Google Home holder with no primer or anything like that. And the acrylic paint seemed to work just fine. It dried down very quickly, as acrylic paint does. Once the paint was dry, I removed the painter's tape from the Google Home and then plugged it back in, and everything worked just great. Thank you for watching my video. I had a lot of fun with this DIY. Decorating my Google Home holders was really fun. I love my Google Homes. I don't know how I ever lived without them. They're great. But I have a lot of DIYs coming on my channel, so subscribe for more fun DIY ideas. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.